everybody. Welcome to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me. It is the first Monday of May already. Can you believe this? May 3rd, May 3rd, May 3rd. What's May 3rd? May 3rd, it's happy birthday to Frankie Valli today. Frankie's 87. God bless. Keep singing, Frankie. And also my friend Marcus Reyes. It's his birthday today too. So happy birthday, Marcus. And I special shout out to my mama because my mommy is going to be 83 tomorrow on May 4th. So I get all the birthdays out of the way. I'm going to talk about my weekend really quick and then get into my guest. Hello, Bruno. Thank you for watching, my friend, my number one Tea Time fan. Friday I was not feeling well. Friday I actually was like lying down all day. Thursday I went for my second COVID vaccine shot and I had a really bad reaction to the first one because I did have COVID. I went through the COVID thing and then I was hoping not to have the same side effects this time and I did. So I woke up with fever, aches, pains, but thank God, boy, the next morning, Saturday morning, wake up like nothing ever happened. It was like a miracle. Saturday, I did a garage sale, did a lot of little purging with my daughter, and I did a garage sale with my neighbors. So it was like a multi-family thing. Made a few shillings, which comes in handy, and so did my daughter. And then Saturday night, she goes, Ma, you want to come out with me and Steven, that's her boyfriend, and his mom? And I was like, yeah, what are you going to do? She goes, we're going to go to dinner, and then we're going to go to bingo. And I was like, okay, I'm in. So we go to dinner, had a lovely dinner. Bingo, we walked into this bar, this dive bar, and I felt like I was in the movie Cocoon. But I have to say it was great because I won $50. Yeah, I came home with money. I paid for dinner, paid for bingo. It was a night out for free. It was great. And then Sunday, of course, was laundry day. And then in the afternoon from 3 to 6, I got together with my female comic girls and doing improv. We did improv for 3 hours and we had a blast. So I can't wait to do that again. Hopefully I'll host a Sunday. So that was my weekend. I think I got everything in. Oh, and I want to say real quick before I forget, right after my show at 9 o'clock, tune in to my girl, Kristen Tinsley. She's going to be doing a reading. Go to her Facebook page. And then 10 o'clock, I'm joining Dan Romano tonight. Okay? Got it out of the way. I'm very excited to introduce my guest. She's an actor. She's a comedian. She's an author. She's a producer. She does it all, and I love it. Victoria Armstein is here. Hello, Victoria. How are you?
Hi. I should do this because, like the parades. Because you never know if you do this and what comes out if they pause it.
Exactly.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I'm just glad you're here. Hello, Gerard. Hello, Joey. Goldstein, my friend. I can't wait to have you on my show. Listen, you're a girl originally from Brooklyn, a nice Jewish girl from Brooklyn. And you went to school there, correct?
Yes.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Sephardic High School, which is not on the map anymore. It's not even there anymore. I don't even know how I write it on any type of form. They're like, what high school? I'm like, it doesn't even exist anymore. It was a yeshiva.
Yes, that I know. Actually, my first boyfriend in college was from Israel. I think I told you that a little bit. And that's a whole other story. It's all about you tonight, my friend. So actually, after high school, where did you go? What did you do?
Okay, so I come from a very small community, which is kind of, they have their own type of rules and, kind of culture. It's a Sephardic, which is the high school I went to. It's Middle Eastern Jewish. So it's not European Jewish, it's Middle Eastern Jewish. So they have different kinds of cultures. Right. And in fact, I'm married to a European Jew, and it's very, very different. Believe it or not. Yeah, believe it or not. And even 50 years ago, they didn't even encourage it. But they stay in their group, and that's how it goes. And people know each other, and they know, it was like a small, thing. But so the culture was that you get married at a young age, straight out of high school. In fact, they teach marriage classes in the high schools that I was in.
Yeah.
Because that's what you needed to know. And I think it's a great class. That even now they should do it. But I was always a little bit like a black sheep. I'm one of 5 children, and I always had like the acting bug or the, because I'm a singer, and I was always in the community plays, and I was always a lead role, and it was just like, it was in my blood. So I was going to go the Broadway route, And then I didn't do anything. After my father died in 1990, I had to go to work. I had to really, make money. Like it wasn't like a joke anymore, It was fun when you're living at home and your parents support, whatever. But yeah, so what happens to the ones that don't get married at 18? That was me. So they didn't encourage college. So I didn't have a college degree.
Right.
And I was out there working and hustling. I was working in a jewelry store here and a clothing store there and learning, the ropes. And I got very savvy with human behavior. I got very savvy with understanding that making a connection is as easy as making someone laugh.
Yeah.
So there I was making people laugh. I was hustling, getting people off the street and putting them in my jewelry store. I mean, that's what we did. That's how you do it. If you ever go to 47th Street, you see people outside. Come on in, come on in. I had no shame because that was my job.
Right. Absolutely. We have a lot of things in common. And as we talk, this evening during the interview, I will just interject and tell you, I also worked for a jeweler and jewelry in Queens when I lived in Queens, but it was right by the 7 train. When you come up from Flushing, the store was right there. So, but I worked.
Oh, wow.
We have a lot of similarities.
Wow. Yeah, we do have that.
Keep mentioning them as we go. But and I loved work. I loved working for a jeweler. It was the best. And I'm a people person. So I don't have a problem talking.
Right. I mean, I didn't know anything about jewelry. I was just selling myself, basically.
Right.
And then I got more savvy as the years went on. First, I started in like like Wall Street, those types, 42nd Street. And then I moved up to Madison Avenue. I walked into the store basically because I had a fight with the guy he was a Lebanese guy. And every single week I quit. I was like Larry David. And then I would show up on Monday. I'm like, you're lucky I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, it was just one of those things. And then one day I just had it with him and I walked past this store all the time. They were also from my community, but they didn't know who I was. And I walked in and I said, I'm looking for a job. And the guy was like, yeah, write your name on a list. I go, wrong answer. He goes, what? Would you like, that's not what you say to somebody that's working in a store and you want a job. Right. But I had nothing to lose. I didn't care anymore. I was so angry. I said, wrong answer. You see, if I leave, you don't get the chance to ever see if I'm good. Right. So the wife gets up off the stool and, I didn't know they were married at the time. She goes, how do we know you're good? I go, you want to know how you know? Hire me for a week. Don't pay me. Just pay me on commission. You'll find out. Or don't pay me at all.
Right.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And the next day I made like $13,000 in sales. And they were like, okay, you're hired.
Right.
I stayed there for another 3 years. I happened to meet my husband, walking into the store the last week that I was there. I was going to go travel. I was out. He walked in and he'd been in there before, but they weren't that nice to him. He was selling jewels. He was peddling.
Right.
And I said, well, I don't need jewelry. He goes, well, I don't need jewelry. And then we ended up talking and I was like, are you Jewish? This, that. And then at the end of the conversation, what?
Was it?
Yeah. So he says, at the end of the conversation, he was just like, oh my God, it's 45 minutes. I have to go. I go, well, you can go. It was like a winter day. I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So then I said, how old are you? And because he looked like an older guy, but I couldn't tell. Yeah. So I'm like, I read people really well. I was very good at reading people at that point. Seasoned salespeople usually are, someone's going to buy something within a minute.
Right.
And you could read body language at that point, which is why I say people should really learn on the job because the things you learn. So I ended up saying, how old are you? And he's like, oh, excuse me. Like he took offense by it. I was like, he must be young because he's already offended. And then he says, well, I'm not telling you. You got to call me 3 times. And he puts his card on the counter and confidently walks out. He goes 3 times and he leaves.
Was he thinking?
I go, huh? I go, what are you, Rumpelstiltskin? I'm not calling you 3 times. The next day, I was so bored. I had his card. I had everybody's card that I ever had was in a book. I said, I got to know how old he is. I called him up. He goes, now you got to go out with me. I go, who's making these rules? We ended up going out. He liked me right away. I thought he was like a friend. I was dating someone else that went away. We were like kind of shaky.
Okay.
And he was foreign. But my husband was, at the time, he was a guy. He was American. And I got and he got my jokes, and it was like nothing went over his head. He got it, everything just started to click. And then we got married, and he's 7 years younger than I am. I didn't think he was going to ever get married, but he's like an older soul somehow.
Right.
I'm like the kid. He's like the older one.
Age is just a number. I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as time went on, 3 kids. We had 3 kids right away. I was already 30 years old. I was a virgin when I got married. That was not ever like something he didn't even care. But I did it for myself at that point because I was like, after 25, I'm like, what am I going to just go to bed with anyone?
Right.
I would have gotten traumatized. So I wanted to wait. And I got to know who really wanted me for me.
To get to know you, because once you throw sex in, it takes away from getting to know a person
and the attachments and the guilt and all that. And there was nothing I felt guilty about because I didn't, look, I wasn't a nun. I'm just going to say that I was just like, that was my thing. And the truth is, he didn't really care. He was like, he didn't even know. He didn't really believe me until wedding night. But that's another story. But anyway, I'm rambling on.
It's okay.
But that was my meeting.
Yeah.
Story. And, I was single. I wanted to do comedy because of the hospital and visit and teach how to visit people. So I would go to the hospitals and make people laugh, and they would get better. And they just felt good. Come next week, cheer me up. And I was doing it naturally. And then I would go to comedy clubs on dates. And then I liked it so much, I would go alone. And that was like unheard of. And then people were like, you should try it. Open mics, I think at the time in the 90s, it was like 12 midnight at the Comic Strip Live. I lived on the Upper East Side. It was dodgy, smoky. Oh, I said, who's going to marry me? No one's going to marry me. I'm going to get on stage. I'm going to see my friends and family in the audience. I'll die. Years later, my husband had no idea I even wanted to try it. He says, you're really funny. You should probably take a comedy class and do stand-up comedy. I went, what?
Wow.
You're gonna watch the kids? And then I don't know if you know Corey Kahaney. She taught this class. And then it's so funny because now that I produce shows, what a twist of fate, she was in my show. So it all came full circle, and now here I am.
Wow.
Producing shows and
wild. It's wild when you think about it, right? Because life's all about timing. Seriously, it's all about timing. And how it works out. I'm talking to Victoria Armstein, and she's an actor, she's a comedian, she's a producer, she's an author, and we're gonna get to that. But we're gonna go to commercial. We're gonna take a commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna learn so much more about Victoria. So stay right where you are, don't go away. So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my God.
Hold on tight. We're going to Coasters.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 Newbridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222. Kristen Tinsley is the Divine Comedian, tarot reads, and spiritual medium. Please subscribe to her YouTube channel, The Divine Comedian. That's D-I-V-I-N-E, Comedian, F-E-M-E-D-I-A-N. Check it out and let her tell you what your future holds. Val's Crafty Creations. Are you looking for something personalized? She's the one to do it. She's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. Check it out. Val's Crafty Creations. From t-shirts, stemware, houseware. She does it all for any occasion. Val's Crafty Creations.
Well, hi there, Teresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Teresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Let's give some shout outs to Mo and to Bruno, Donna, my neighbor. Hello everybody for watching. Please like the show, please share it. A special thank you to John York from General Hospital giving me a beautiful shout out. And hopefully I'm hoping one day to get him on my show. Also, Val's Crafty Creations, check her out on Insta and Etsy, and Kristen Tinsley, my girl. Set up a reading with her. She's amazing, and she's going to be doing a live right after my show at 9:00. So tune into her. Welcome back, Victoria Armstein. She's an actor, she's a comedian, she's an author, she's a producer. She does it all. And we're gonna talk about her book in a little while. But first, I just want to ask you about how you started out with stand up and then you stopped. And I started out with stand up in the early 90s also, and then I stopped when I had my daughter. And I returned to comedy about 5 years ago now. You actually stopped doing comedy because you moved, right?
Yeah, I stopped doing it in New York, and I couldn't really see myself as a Jew in Hawaii doing comedy. Like, it just didn't make sense. I'm like, I don't know the lay of the land.
Yeah.
What?
A Jew in Hawaii, hysterical. And there was no comedy clubs, right? Like,
well, there's no real comedy clubs. There used to be, but I didn't know about this group that was doing it until 3 years in. Yeah, I was trying to get into a bar or something and do my own show, but I didn't know any comedians over there. I didn't know anything,
right.
but I didn't even care. I was so happy swimming. I'm a long distance swimmer. I was so happy running and hiking. I didn't care. I had done ultra marathons.
I love Hawaii. I've been there twice. I haven't been there in a really long time, but I love Hawaii. They say it's where God vacations, and it is. It's just superb. If
I show you, this is my screensaver. That's my back. That was my backyard. I was Obama's neighbor.
Nice.
And I would swim to those mountains and back. It was a mile out and a mile back. And I tell you, there were sharks, but I didn't know that for 2 years. I was like, oh, there's sharks? What? Somebody got attacked in the spot that I go to every day?
Oh my God. So you lived in Hawaii from what, 2013 to 2018?
Yeah, just about 2018. Yes, at the end of 2018. So yeah, I was there for a while, and I just absolutely loved it. I loved it. But my husband was traveling a lot, and then it got to a point where we were separating 2 different times, and it got difficult. And then I came back to New York. But I was, it was a comedy group, like you would have in New Jersey or wherever, a small town like Cincinnati or something. But, where everybody knows each other, and you get paid because you're the only comics there. And, we would open for people that would come through. I opened for a local celebrity who kind of made it mainstream too, Andy Bumatai. And, my friend would go to the Hawaii Theater and open for Tom Segura. People that came through, that's what the locals did. But local comedians, I should say. But the thing about comedy in Hawaii is a lot of it is military bases. Yes. So a lot of people come and go. It's a very transitional type of island, Oahu, because people like either they retire there or they're just transitioning, they're trying it out, or they're on the military for 3 years. You know what I mean? It's like here today, gone tomorrow. My kids would have friends for 3 years and then poof, they weren't there.
But Oahu was the only island Oahu is where you lived?
Yeah, I lived on Oahu. Honolulu was on that island. That's a city. I lived in Kailua. And I started out with the Big Island. We were going to live on the Big Island because my husband did Ironman races, which is triathlons, the world championships out there. So we were doing those, and I should say he. And we were like looking at that, but it was too remote. It was too country. It was just a little too country, and I like a city feel. So Honolulu had that city vibe,
So tell me about, I did 3 half marathons.
Great.
But tell me about yours, because mine were only 13.1.
That's not only, that's a lot. That's commendable. I think every race is commendable, and I applaud anyone who gets to the start line. How's that? No, no, to the start line. I really do applaud anyone who signs up and gets to the start line. My husband's an ultra marathoner, and to explain that a little bit better, it's like a marathon on crack. It's anything above a marathon, and like a marathon's 26.2 miles, and so he was doing that, and then I got into running, and I wasn't a background runner. I didn't do that in high school. We didn't even have a track. We didn't have anything. I had a very small school, and I don't know. I just ended up running and loving it. And if I wanted to keep up with him, he made me like an ultra marathon widow, and I made my kids an orphan. Like they were ultra marathon orphans because we were always out running. So that's another reason why I stopped comedy for a little bit also, because it takes a lot out of you to be a mother and train. So I was running about 125 miles a week. That's a lot of miles.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And so I ended up winning.
Yeah.
100K race, which is 62 miles on my first. And I fell in love with running. So and I fell in love with swimming. So I moved to Hawaii.
Nice. Well, I wanna talk about you coming back to New York. You came back to New York. Every marriage has its ups and downs. Okay. It's a roller coaster, and it's a choice whether to stay on the ride or get off. And I want to talk about your book, because during the pandemic, a lot of people, I said there were a lot of marriages, a lot of divorces, or a lot of pregnancies. And I want everyone to know, I read this book and I loved it. It's called Impress Yourself. Stop waiting for approval from others when you're the one you live with 24/7. So this is the book. I want everyone to see it, get it.
Yeah, I got it right here.
How to get it? There it is. It's a great book. It's a great read. A lot of it is common sense, which a lot of people lose along the way. But it had me, and it grabs you in the very beginning, because when you were in Hawaii, the FBI knocked on your door. And I'm not going to give anything else away. That's all I'm telling you, because once I read that, my jaw dropped, and I was like, holy crap. And then I read what you went through, and I was like, everyone has to make decisions, and your decisions lead to another decision, and where life takes you. But the FBI knocked on her door, and she left Hawaii, came back to New York, and really became independent, right? You were relying on yourself to make money, you raising the kids. But if you want to read what's going on in here, you need to get the book. And what I also liked is not only how the book started out, but I loved every chapter. I loved everything you touched upon. One of them in particularly, I have to tell you, was the 8 pillars of health, which I think is very important, which again, Victoria is also a coach. This is another thing that she does. She loves to help people, which is so important. And really quick, I want to go through the 8, if we can. Can we run through the 8 really quick?
Yeah, it's so important. The 8 pillars of health. I was a health coach, and I did it for charity for years. And I've gotten people off of diabetic medicine and all that. And whatever I can't do, I would direct people to the right people, that had the medical degrees and all that stuff.
Right. So the 8 pillars are, and she goes through each one of them, but I'm just going to tell you what they are. It's sleep, hydration, eat whole foods, okay, nothing processed, movement, fresh air, sunlight, loving yourself, including healthy relationships, and laughter. And each one, is explained, and why they are important, and, why you need all 8 to have pretty much optimal health, and it's so important. You've said it in the book, you say it in the book, and I say it all the time. Without your health, you can have all the money in the world, you can have the biggest house, the fastest car, you can have all the luxuries life has to offer you, but if you don't have your health, It means ungats. Nothing. It means nothing.
Even if you're tired, even if you're dehydrated, just
Yeah,
those things. Yeah.
you don't get to enjoy. You have to have your health. Health is numero uno, really.
So my best days were spent having all of those 8 pillars in one day. If you
Wow.
can get it in the week, get it in the week as much as possible, but be aware of it. And I always tell people are like, I don't have to go to a comedy club. I don't have to laugh. I don't, some people go weeks and weeks without laughing.
That's
And
the
I
whole
said,
thing. You have to laugh. You have to
you have to.
at least once a day. It actually extends your life. It does.
Yes.
Proven that laughter extends your life, and stress totally shortens your life. So there are a lot of things in here that Victoria talks about that I totally follow, think the same mind thought, and that's why I appreciate the book, because this is like the book that I would have written if I was going to.
Right. Well, it was very much my voice. I mean, people, I don't write citations and I just say disclaimer, if this is what works for me, you could look it up all you want. Everybody could look up anything.
Right. Absolutely. You also talk about distractions keep
So
us.
do that, and
Yeah. You also talked about distractions keeping us from obsessions. I love that too, and I get it. It's a great book. You wrote it during quarantine, and I love the pictures that you included, especially your parents' wedding picture. I think you look all like your mom.
really?
Stunning.
Thank you.
I love seeing all that. I really do. So when you get a chance, again, impress.
And most of the proceeds go to children's charities, because I'm making very little on Amazon, very little. But I want to give it to the charities because, I don't really need it, and I would love to give it to the charities. It was a labor of love, and I wrote it really for my children originally. When I'm gone, I want them to know how to get through life. You know what I mean? And my grandchildren, whoever they will be, hopefully. My son also wrote a book, just to give you a little heads up, The Making of Bearzilla, and I write about it in my book.
Yeah.
It's a crazy story. At 16 years old, my husband basically had this crazy idea. We homeschooled him the last few years of school. In Hawaii, that's not rare. And he said, what do you think of sending Sam, our son, away on a trip around the world at 16 years old by himself on $35 a day, and every few days I'm going to send him an email like The Amazing Race, and he has to do scavenger hunts. So he did. He went from the base camp of Everest. He hiked 9-hour days to get to the base camp of Everest. He ended up going to Germany and riding all across Germany with a bike that he had to go find. He didn't steal it. He bought one on Craigslist.
How cool is that? That is the trip of a lifetime. That's like when my parents said to me, listen, we're going to spend the entire summer going cross country, with the United States. And I was like, at first I didn't want to go because I just met my boyfriend, and I didn't want to go. And my mother's like, if you do not come on this trip, you're going to regret it, because these are places that you may never ever see again. And again, Mount Rushmore, Old Faithful, Grand Canyon, the Four Corners.
My husband's dying to do that with me. He's dying to do that with me. We haven't done it.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And I'm so glad I went. I'm just so glad I went. And I'm thankful that my parents were able to do it. I want to give a shout out. Hello, Jen Lantini, best bartender on Long Island. And I want to say hello to Jennifer Macalusa, and my girl Kristen Tinsley's watching. I'm with Victoria Armstein. She's an actor, comedian, author, and producer. So we talked about your book, and we talked about comedy. Let's talk about producing, because I had Al Martin on my show. I love Al, and Al loves you too, and you are producing shows at his clubs, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were friends on Facebook. We know sort of the same people from Brooklyn. And he once watched me, but he doesn't remember that he watched one of my sets. And he told me, don't, step on people's laughter or whatever. And he gave me good advice. But, and shortly after that, I went to Hawaii. But we were friends on Facebook, and we were writing to each other privately about certain things, about comedy and stuff, and, what's happening in the news and all that stuff. And we were kind of on the same page. And he was like, you want to produce for me or whatever. Like, I don't remember how it happened, but it became a very symbiotic thing where I was ready and I was willing and I was hungry for it. I hadn't worked for 22 years except for raising my kids, which is a different kind of work. But I took that work ethic and I came to the table and he was ready, see what you got. Let's see what you got. So the first thing I did was I didn't want to do any bringer shows. Like I knew that was happening in his club.
Yep.
I thought I was a little bit above that. I wanted just pro comics because I wanted the show to be good. And I didn't want people to get disappointed. So, because I've been to bringer shows where the comics weren't that good. And I didn't want to do that to my customers.
Right.
So,
I totally hear you.
Right. So I ended up bringing 70 people. I said, this is the worst bringer show I ever went to. I mean, it was my show, but I was going to the Hilton Hotel and I was scalping tickets. I was at the cafe asking people if they want to come to my show. I'm not even kidding. So now I fill up a small room of 70 people in Broadway Comedy Club, the upstairs room. I don't know if you remember. But then I ended up talking to Allie, and then one show, I couldn't find anybody. And he said, when are you going to do the bringer show? And I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to try your way because I'm not going to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
I'm going to get pros and I'm going to pay them. And I'm going to get people that, because I was running an open mic too.
Yeah.
And that's when I started my open mic. And then I said, I'm going to get people to come that would normally not be able to get on stage with a pro. Yeah. And at least their family and friends will have a good show if we have pro comics from Comedy Central, Netflix. So I took the not great spot, which is 6:30 on a Tuesday. You know what I mean? And I ended up filling rooms and it kept going and going. And I'm starting to, earn my keep and my reputation was getting better and better. And my open mics, people were telling me now during the pandemic, everybody and their brother has an open mic in the park. Yep. But at the time, people were telling me my open mics were amazing. Why? I would give them extra minutes because I'm a comic. I know you need more. So, okay, $5 for 5 minutes. I have time after this. I want everyone to stay so that people don't leave and then there's one person in the audience.
Right.
So stay and I'll give you an extra 5 minutes. That was I wanted them to be rewarded if they stayed for the other comics, not for me, for them. So it ended up being, I was getting really good feedback. People were loving it. And now I'm doing it again, but I'm only doing 2 instead of 4. I do 2 on Wednesdays at Broadway Comedy Club, 3:00 and 5:00. And it's a really fun time. It's a great way to network. And, to work out your stuff, I need the stage time. So whatever time I can get on stage, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
So I want that for the comics also, even if they don't do my show.
So there's a lot of comics that are going to be watching this. So Wednesdays, 2 shows on Wednesdays, 3 p.m. and 5 p.m.
Well, 2 open mics, 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. And they could Venmo me, Victoria-Armstein, $5. And they get 5 minutes, probably 10 minutes. And then I have another one at 5. Sometimes that one doesn't get twice, but 3:00 almost all the time. If it's not a very crowded one and I get everybody in, people leave, we have time for the 10 people that stayed.
That's what I was going to ask you. You cap how many sign
about
up?
About 27. I think 27 is the limit, and then we can't do extra time because that's about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah. So but I think it's great that I got I got into it that way. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, everybody started getting a little bit political and stuff like that happened. And I wrote an article on Medium. I write articles on Medium.
You wrote you had an article that was published, right?
A couple of them, yeah.
Talking about?
Yeah, there's a couple of them, but one of them I wrote about how the riots were first happening, and I'm in New York City, and I found them to be very dangerous and not at all helpful for anyone.
It was a scary time.
Right. So I wrote that it's going to have a ripple effect, and I was actually prophetic like that. I really thought that there was going to be a ripple effect of that damaging the city because people would be too afraid to come back, and nobody would want to invest in their business anymore over there. So I wrote that, and then a white Jewish girl who I know, who my mother goes to her father as a doctor. I mean, she out of nowhere said, "Oh, I see what side of history you're on," and she got me onto a racist list for comics.
Wow.
There's a list apparently, and I was considered.
You're telling me there's a blacklist?
Yeah.
Well, no pun intended here.
Yeah.
The blacklist for comics?
Yeah, so I was on it
Wow.
for writing that article and posting it on Facebook.
You know,
But
it seems that
it was an open mic guy. No, it was some open mic guy, amateur guy that had the list. But
Right.
people were putting people on the list like the Gestapo, like they were German Nazis telling on you.
oh
It was
my God.
horrible. It was horrible. But I'm not the only one. I mean, we have big famous comics on there, like that. They just wanted to ruin people. So I said, you know what? I don't even care. Al didn't care. We all didn't care. And we went on with our lives. But a year and a half later, whoever forgot, who forgot. Whoever doesn't forget, look, you want to be on my shows? Fine. You don't? See you later.
Right, exactly. Listen, Victoria Armstein, actor, comedian, author, producer. She's also a life coach. She's a beautiful, wonderful artist. Painting. I love you put your artwork in the book too. There's beautiful pictures in here of her family, her artwork, beautiful.
Thank
she
you.
Also sings. The woman does. You do everything. Let me tell you.
Jacqueline of all trades, master of none.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages. Stay right where you are.
So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God. Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222. Kristen Tinsley is the Divine Comedian, tarot reads, and spiritual medium. Please subscribe to her YouTube channel, The Divine Comedian. That's D-I-V-I-N-E, Comedian, F-E-M-E-D-I-A-N. Check it out and let her tell you what your future holds. Val's Crafty Creations. Are you looking for something personalized? She's the one to do it. She's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. Check it out. Val's Crafty Creations. From t-shirts, stemware, houseware. She does it all for any occasion. Val's Crafty Creations.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Teresa Canastraci Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Teresa on Facebook, Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight because I have a great guest. Victoria Armstein is with me, and she is an actor, comedian, producer. She is an author. The woman is a life coach. If you need some advice, she's also an artist. She's a singer. She's been there, done that. And you know what? I love it. I love that long list. Yeah, I love it. Because that's a person who doesn't say no. It's a person who tries everything. And I'm so into that. So thank you everyone for watching the show tonight. Please like it. Please share it. So my question to you is, would you rather produce or perform? Do you have a...
Perform.
Both? Yeah.
Perform.
Perform. Okay, no, that's good to know. And your very, very first performance was at Gotham?
Yes.
In front of a nice crowd too. There was like 250 people there, right?
Yes, and it was the graduation show, and I didn't know anything about this. I didn't really prepare. There were 15 people in the class, so I didn't really have time to really hone in on my skills. I wrote a few things that happened to me, like the way I would talk to someone at a party. Like, you had to hear what happened to my cruise, like
Right.
or the airport, stuff like that I was relating to. And they weren't really jokes. They were just like, you got to hear this, or do you understand this? And I'm not afraid of the stage. The second I got on the stage, I felt right at home because I have a theater background. But I got off the stage and my husband didn't want to go at all. He was like cringing. cringing. He's much more reserved and very not social. He kept arguing with me right before the show. Do I have to go? Do I have to go? I said, they said I have to bring somebody. Yes, can't you support me? Anyway, he was the only one I brought. Everybody else, I think, brought 6, 10 people. I didn't know you had to do that. I didn't know it was a bringer show. So I ended up bringing him. I felt very at ease. And I got off the stage and he texted me. It's when text first started. He said, well, you didn't suck. I'm like, I need a hug. So I go around the bend and this tall guy says to me, who I didn't recognize, he says, is this your first time on? And I said, yeah, does it show? He says, no, you're a natural. I think you should keep it up. And then he gets on stage and he's crushing it. And they're like, give it up for Jim Gaffigan. I'm like, who's this guy? He's amazing.
Yeah.
I looked him up right then and there, and it was Jim Gaffigan. I didn't know who it was. I didn't know anything about comedians really, except for like Howie Mandel and the 80s guys, you know?
Well, I've got, me too, theater background, and I'm very comfortable on a stage. Just give me a microphone, and that's my happy place.
And I took acting classes with improv, and I have that background too. So there's a lot of like, what would you do in the moment type of thing. And I could literally talk to anyone, anywhere, at any time.
Yeah.
So people don't intimidate me. I don't know if that's
But I'm the same way. I'm
like born with that. If you
Yeah.
learn it,
Yeah.
yeah. But I was shy as a kid. I was actually shy as a kid. Like I didn't have that until later. So that could develop later for some people. In case anybody's wondering if they have it in them, it could happen at 30. You know what I mean? Like people don't realize that things happen in a succession. Like I didn't know that I was going to be that outgoing. But when you're one of 5 children, if you don't speak up, you don't get shit.
It's true. It really
So those skills helped me. You know what I mean? You got it. You can't enable people to just, give them everything. And I talk about it in the book, how a baby chick literally has to get out of its shell, but everybody wants to help it who's watching. If you're standing by, don't you want to help it? But with that help, you're going to hurt it because it has to survive later and it's got to develop those muscles. And so I'm not an enabler when it comes to my kids. I am not a helicopter mom. I am very much a do-it-yourself. I had them doing their laundry at 5 years old with a step stool. You're not going to do your laundry. You're not going to wear clothes.
Yes.
Make it.
We were I think 12 or 13. We were a little older, but yeah, we had to do our own laundry. And my brother learned everything just like us girls. He learned.
And I didn't. My mother had 2 housekeepers for us. We had 2 housekeepers. And I was just like, why did I have to? And then I had a housekeeper till I was living at home, till I got married, till I was 30. I didn't know how to do the washing machine. I had to ask my husband because he was living on his own. I had no idea. It was embarrassing. I was like, I never needed to. My clothes were always done for me.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't my fault. It was circumstance. But I recognized it. And my husband didn't have as much money. And we didn't get housekeepers until later. He didn't have money. I married him. I didn't marry him for money. I married him for love, and then, but now that he has money, I could divorce him for it. No. But no prenup. So not a desperate housewife after all.
That's so funny. How old were you when you, how old were you when you picked up a paintbrush? And you also are musically inclined. Didn't you play violin in 3rd grade or something?
I played violin for a little bit, but it was such a joke that my friends still make fun of me for it. I didn't practice or anything. And then we got it on stage. It was a recital. And I put the bow down and the violin down, and I just didn't know it. And I was standing there with 6 people doing it. But till this day, people that were in the audience, I must have been in 3rd grade or something. And I'm like, what were you thinking? I'm like, I just didn't know it. I'm not going to fake it. I don't fake things.
Right.
I don't fake orgasms. I don't fake anything. What you see is what you get. Yeah, and I'm pretty what's the word? Not just controversial and thought-provoking, but I'm also confrontational. I have no problem confronting. I've been on the battlefield as in the vegan movement, like sticking up for people that get bashed for just eating an egg. Like I would just stick up for people all the time. And then I left that group. And then then the comic scene, forget about it. Like the bashing that goes on
I
in the
know.
comedy scene.
I had Victoria had me on her show. She does a little show, and I was on her show, and we got into it because listen, I started in the early 90s, and it was tough then, and it's still tough now. And we talked about clicks, how there are clicks, how sometimes owners, they put up the same comics. Listen, and I don't care who gets pissed at me or not. I speak the truth. That's the other thing. I don't belong to a clique, a tribe. I march to the beat of my own drum. That's why I says I'm reading your book and I'm going, you're like my soul sister, man. It's like we think on the same wavelength, and I don't have a problem. I say I've got bigger balls than most men because I don't have a hard time confronting someone either. And the other thing is I'm very honest. And I think I told you this. If you ask me my opinion, you better be locked and loaded, ready to hear what I'm about to say, because I don't blow smoke. And if you want to know how that shirt looks on you, I'm going to tell you how it looks on you.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask.
I mean, we went through COVID. We saw what everyone went through. People lost loved ones. People were sick in hospitals. And for God's sakes, all I wanted it to do was teach us to all be kinder to each other, be nicer to each other. And there's still bashing going on till today. There is, and I don't think it will ever go away. Look, comedy and entertainment industry is a very competitive industry. But when it comes to comedy, it's really, really hard. Now, I know that you love it. You love it. You love it. I've heard you even say that you would love to open up your own club if you can.
Eventually, who knows what's in the cards for me? And I'm starting to know the business end of it, and I know there's a lot more to owning a club.
Yeah.
Not delusional. And if that started producing, are you frozen a little bit? Are you there?
Yeah, we're here. Keep going.
I don't know.
Go ahead, we hear you. So you could just keep going. Are you still with me? I know you're frozen. Oh, Victoria, we're almost.
Yes, do you hear me?
Yeah, keep going. Just keep going. And we're live. We're live. Keep going.
Okay. I started producing in Hawaii because I was on a comedy page in Hawaii, and I was what Trump did for Israel. I can't book you anymore. You're embarrassing. I still have it. And I said, you know what? I picked myself up, and I started producing my own shows. And then I took that with me into New York, and I started doing it myself. If you're not rejected, you're redirected. I always say that. So little time.
I love that. You're not rejected, you're
You think
redirected.
you have so much time. You don't. You've been through hell and back. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You don't have a time limit. We don't know the time limit. So every single day counts. Every single day. And that's why I say next time someone's laughing, next time you're laughing, I want you to say to yourself consciously, because I studied this already, so I'm hyper. It's impossible. I don't know if it's frozen.
I hear you. I'm hearing you.
Hello?
Yeah,
It was frozen for a little bit. I don't know if you heard me.
Yeah, no, I can hear you.
Because it was frozen a little bit. And I
Yeah, it's okay.
don't know. Oh, okay. The Wi-Fi is a little wonky.
But I know other people.
Separate. I seek out laughter. I love live comedy shows. I'm biased.
I know a lot of people want to produce shows because that's what gets them their own stage time.
Yes. And also,
Yeah. Yeah. Keep talking.
exchange with other producers.
Yeah.
And done. So.
Yeah. It's like and I think I told you this when I was on your show, like, and like any
It's
industry.
not easy because you got to get people to.
Listen, eventually you have to try to build up a following. You have to get people to come and see you. Is it easier during a weekend? Yes, it's harder during the week, and I get it. A lot of businesses want to drum up more business for during the week, and I get it. Now that we're officially opened again, we're still not 100% capacity. I think the city's coming back July 1st or 2nd at full capacity. I'm not too sure what's going
That's
on
when COVID goes
on Long Island. I'm not too sure. But
away. Yeah, COVID goes away on July 1st.
yeah, but I guess that's when they're going to be doing 100% capacity, because it's very hard for people to pay their rents and pay their headliners because they're relying on sold out shows. So it's hard.
But also, I hustle. I go to comedy clubs and I meet the comics in person. Like, I don't just talk to them online. I meet pro comics. Like, I'm watching a show. I'll watch their show and go up to them afterwards. I'm not just going to say, oh, I like you. Could you come? I'm going to go there and,
right. You do the legwork. You do the legwork, and you're looking at the talent. You're looking at the talent live. You want to see. You want to see what you're doing. I mean, it makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So listen, we only have like 3 minutes left.
Yeah. And I love live comedy.
You're freezing, but we can hear you. I don't know why.
Okay. I just think that people should.
We were going so smoothly till the end.
Here, I think it's wonky.
I don't know. But listen, I want everyone to get Victoria's.
I know, and that's the
okay. It's Impress Yourself. Stop waiting for approval from others.
best part.
When you're the only one that lives with yourself 24/7. It's on Amazon. It's an amazing read. It really is. It really is. And it's a lot of
Thank you.
sense, just a lot of freaking common sense that people don't have anymore. I don't know why. So get the book. You will enjoy it. I'm telling you, it's a great read. It really is. I really did enjoy it. I really did.
And some of the
some of the proceeds go towards different charities. Yeah, very, very, very important. Again, you're doing 2 shows on Wednesdays, 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and that's at Broadway?
That's 2 open mics. It's Broadway Comedy Club, 318 West 53rd.
Okay. And you can get in touch with Victoria. She's on YouTube.
May 12th.
Say that again?
And
okay, I don't know.
On Instagram and
yeah, I want to get that information out. You're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, and Facebook, so you can get in touch with Victoria that way. There's always a way to get in touch with her through social media. Again, her book is amazing. You're an amazing person, and I have to say, I hope you can hear me, but I feel that God puts people in your path for a reason, and I really do appreciate him putting you in my path.
I do.
I do. I don't feel that there are any coincidences. There's no accidents. I just like our paths are paved. You and I'm glad I was able to come on your show and get to meet you. And I'm so glad you were able to do mine. I appreciate it, because I know you were going to do it, then you went away, and I was like so jelly. I'm like, God, I want to go away. I haven't been away in so long. So I'm so glad you were able to go away, and now you're back, and that you did my show. Thank you so much for this, Victoria. And I hope that I could come out to the city and we could actually meet in person. You there? You still there?
And on Instagram and on YouTube.
Yes, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Get her book. All right, everybody, listen. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you, Victoria. I'll see everyone next week, okay? In the meantime, stay safe. Happy birthday to my beautiful mother tomorrow. Ciao, everybody.